It doesn't hit you in public. It waits. For when the lights are low, the notifications are silent, and the part of you you've been avoiding finally comes to the surface. That's when the craving shows up. The scroll, the urge, the fantasy. You tell yourself it's just lust, just stress, just habit. But if you're being honest, you can feel the emptiness even while it's happening. Not just after, but during. Because what you're chasing isn't her body. It's a break from your own silence, from your numbness, from the part of you that's starving but doesn't know how to ask for help. Carl Jung said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And maybe that's what this really is. Not desire, but distraction. Not lust, but loneliness in disguise. It usually starts when it's quiet, late at night. No one's calling. The room's still, but your mind isn't. You're restless, not because of energy, but because something in you doesn't want to sit still. So you reach for the usual thing. Phone, scroll, something, anything that makes you feel. You tell yourself it's just lust, just tension, just what people do. But deep down, you know that's not it. Because if it really was just about desire, why does it feel so empty while you're doing it? Why do you always end up feeling worse? You're not chasing pleasure. You're running from the silence, from the ache, from the part of you that no one ever noticed, not even you. You think you want her body, but what you really want is to feel something that won't vanish in 5 minutes. You want someone to see you, not just look at you, to hold you, not just touch you. But that kind of connection, it terrifies you, because it asks for something you've forgotten how to give, yourself. So you settle for the hit, the scroll, the fantasy. You let the dopamine come and go like a wave you pretend you're not drowning in. And when it's over, you're right back where you started. Still numb, still alone, still not okay. Lust isn't your enemy. It's your signal, your soul, banging on the door you locked years ago. Carl Jung called it the shadow. The part of you that didn't get the love it needed, so now it begs for it in ways that never really satisfy. And it's not just about sex. It's the late-night scrolling, the old messages you keep rereading, the people you romanticize just because they made you feel wanted for 5 seconds. But if you're honest, it's not really about them. It's about you. The version of you you left behind when it became too painful to feel. Before we go deeper, pause for a moment. If any part of this has stirred something in you, that quiet guilt after chasing joy that never satisfies, then subscribe. Not just for the algorithm, but to remind yourself you're not the only one feeling this. And in the comments, tell me what struck you the most, not as a confession, but as a declaration. Because naming the wound is not weakness. It's the first act of healing. Now, let's go even deeper. You ever wonder why you sabotage the good moments? Why intimacy feels unbearable after pleasure? Why silence feels heavier after indulgence? It's because the pleasure didn't soothe you. It distracted you, just long enough to postpone the ache. And now that the silence is back, so is the ache. Carl Jung once wrote in the Red Book, "I must learn that the dregs of my thought my dreams, are the speech of my soul. So when lust shows up, sudden, irrational, even desperate, it's not really about the person you're thinking of. It's about the part of you you've lost contact with. Let me explain. Inside every man, there's a forgotten voice. Not loud, not forceful, but soft. It's called the anima, the inner feminine, the part that knows how to feel without guarding, how to love without gripping, how to let go without losing yourself. But when you've been taught to shut that part down, when the world tells you to be strong, distant, untouchable, your soul still remembers what softness felt like. It just doesn't know where to find it anymore. So it reaches outward, through projection. You place your lost tenderness onto her, your forgotten warmth, your need to be seen without being judged. Not because she is all those things, but because she reminds you of what you once had access to inside yourself. That's why the craving hurts, because you're not just chasing her, you're chasing you. And no matter how many times you reach for her body, you never actually touch what you're longing for, because you can't find yourself in someone else's skin. And the further you drift from your inner feminine, the softer feeling part of you, the more twisted the craving becomes, more urgent, more hollow, more performative. You scroll endlessly. You fantasize about people you barely know. You replay images that gave you a moment of meaning because meaning has become so rare. But every time it ends, you don't feel satisfied. You feel more distant from yourself than before. Because this is how the shadow seduces you. Not with evil, but with illusion. You're not seeing a real person. You're seeing your unmet needs, your buried grief, your unlived emotions wrapped in someone else's presence. And since those pieces were never welcomed inside you, you try to possess them outside of you. But lust, when it's disconnected from love, always collapses. Because no person can carry the weight of your suppressed tenderness. No body can complete a self you've abandoned. No moment of pleasure can heal what your own hands refused to hold. So you chase more content, more novelty, more intensity. Not because you're perverse, but because you're starving. And somewhere along the way, you mistook stimulation for aliveness. But you're not alive. You're running, in circles, through a maze that always leads back to the part of you stopped listening to. Jung said the path forward isn't to ask, who turns me on, but rather, what part of me have I turned off? And when you finally reconnect with that part, the dreamer, the feeler, the intuitive, lust changes. It becomes something sacred, something creative, not a trap, but a bridge. That's what Jung called integration. Not repression, not shame, but reunion. The return of the lost pieces. The soft ones, the scared ones, the parts of you that are tired of watching your life through someone else's eyes. Because the truth is, you don't just want someone to touch your body. You want someone to witness your being. You don't just want release. You want relief from the ache of being unseen, unheld, even by yourself. Until you face your soul, your desire will always be misdirected. You'll keep chasing shadows and calling it love. You'll fall into arms that don't feel like home, because the home you're looking for is the part of you you stopped visiting a long time ago. So, the next time the wave rises in you, pause. Not to repress it, not to act on it blindly. Just ask, what are you trying to show me about myself? Because when you learn to feel the energy without drowning in it, you don't become cold, you become clear. And from that clarity, you can finally choose something deeper than the craving. You can choose connection, not escape, not fantasy, not performance, presence. And from presence comes the kind of love lust could never give you. Because the truth is, lust doesn't reshape you in one big moment. It reshapes you slowly, in small fractures, until one day you stop feeling your emotions fully and start seeing people as pieces.